Chicago service station welcomes you to another baseball broadcast. Brought to you direct from Comiskey Park by permission of the Chicago White Sox and the Philadelphia Athletics to stimulate interest in our national game and in your local team. And now out to Comiskey Park and Hal Totten, who's going to give us some inside information on today's game right from the playing field. Take it away, Hal Totten.
Good afternoon from Comiskey Park, home of the White Sox in Chicago, where the White Sox and Philadelphia Athletics are about to play the third game of this present four-game series. Usually at this time, we greet you from the playing field with an interview with one of the ball players or some other sports celebrity. But today I'm going to change things a little, and for a very serious reason. Over the weekend here in Chicago, we had a very turbulent and hectic baseball series, as all of us must remember. It was bad on Saturday, but it reached a climax on Sunday when umpire Bill Summers was felled by a bottle thrown by a thoughtless, criminally careless spectator. Many people might think it a good idea to let all this drop. Not to forget it, remember, but to stop talking about something many days old. That would be all right, maybe, except that some others insist on keeping the matter alive and on trying to pin it on everyone from the radio announcer to the poor jet who gets his penny or so commission for selling soft drinks in the ballpark. One of Chicago's morning papers yesterday printed an interview with Mr. William Harridge, president of the American League. Now, I consider Will Harridge one of my best friends in baseball and a credit to the game in every way. I look upon him as one of the ablest of executives, and I've always tried at every turn to cooperate with him and aid him whenever possible in anything he wished. But this morning paper story contained a quotation from the league president that I believe must be answered. It makes a very serious charge and one that I do not believe is deserved. I've attempted all day to contact Mr. Harridge to find if he was quoted correctly. I've been successful, but I hope he wasn't quoted correctly. The portion of the quotation to which I refer is this, quoting, Sunday's demonstration was the worst that ever occurred in the league, but it was entirely due to a few leading roughhouse fans who I believe are not typical Sox rooters. They were antagonistic to the umpires from the very start, and I believe much of the blame rests with the radio announcers. A couple of the radio announcers went way offline in rapping the umpires Saturday and apparently aroused the fans to such a pitch that they were just waiting for some excuse to get on the umpires Sunday. The newspapers were not to blame because all the articles I saw were very fair. Then the quotation goes on to say this. The psychological setup, of course, was perfect for such a thing to happen. Here the Sox turned in such a brilliant record on the road and then ran into trouble when they came home. Since the Sox weren't winning, the umpires became the coach. Now I ask you, how about that? In the first place, the placing of the blame on the radio announcers is so obviously unfair and untrue that the issue must be taken with it. I'm sure we're deeply flattered by the insinuation that we control the feelings of you fans to such an extent. But even this might have been okay if that further crack about the newspapers hadn't been made. As we all know by now, the baseball writers are eager to have the broadcasting of their ball games abolished. Some believe it hurts circulation, others just want us out. They don't seem to stop to consider the thousands of shut-ins, invalids, sick people, and others we serve each day. They try to advance their cause by insisting that broadcasting hurts attendance at the games, and yet the Sox had over 50,000 people last Sunday and turned away 20,000 more, and the Cubs didn't do so badly with a couple of field crowds on big days so far this year. So we know we don't hurt attendance. We help it. But the charge that radio announcers brought on the conflagration Sunday plays right into the baseball writers' hands. It gives them something to shout at them. So to play further into their hands, the league executive is quoted, I hope incorrectly, as saying that all the articles were fair. I wonder, let's look at the stories in the Sunday papers about what happened Saturday. One writer refers to the ousting of Dyke, Sewell, and Shea several times in his story. In his lead, this writer, among other things, said, quoting, in a battle that reduced 15,000 adherents to heap wrath on the head of Charles Johnston, who was doing the best he could with the job of plate umpire, end quote. Of course, I may be wrong, but could there be a note of sarcasm in that? In the next paragraph, I find this, quoting, Sewell made harmless gestures while walking out to confer with Lyon. Dyke strolled into the plate to talk. In about a half a minute, both had vanished by request. And here's another sentence. And the death also was the cause of a police squad fearing to escort the annoying Johnston to cover at the end of the struggle. End quote again. Further along in the detailed account of the incident, this same writer reported as follows, quoting, without even dignifying the man in blue with an icy stare, Sewell walked out to appease Lyon, meanwhile raising his hands in the air. Johnston made gestures indicating he wanted Sewell to leave the party. Dykes trotted in to find out what Sewell had done to warrant expulsion. Being the manager, Dykes thought he was entitled to information, but all he heard from the arrogant gentleman in blue was, "Ask the American League office," end quote. The quotation in yesterday's story said that all the articles Mr. Harridge had seen were very unfair. Maybe if the quotation was correct, he didn't see that one, because nothing I said was less fair than the above, and I believe I was probably the most, well, at least among the most outspoken of the announcers, although I may be wrong in that. Incidentally, the other two Sunday writers reported the incident respectively as follows. One said, quoting, "However, the defeat was spiced up by some violent protest by Messrs. Luke Sewell and skipper Jimmy Dykes of the Sox." And the other one also referred to violent gestures, and both men mentioned to saving of the umpire from violence by the police squad. Now, most baseball fans can read. Being able to read, they don't need radio announcers to point out the violence of what happened or would involve. Anytime a newspaper mentions a police squad and so forth in connection with an umpire, that umpire is going to get its next statement at fans, ready or no. Some of the worst pop bottle episodes in the history of the game came either before the days of radio or without radio's aid. Sunday's incident was hardly the worst that ever occurred in the league. And those other two stories, I hardly think they can be pointed out as exceptional jobs of reporting. Everyone in the park knows that the ejection of Sewell and Dykes came with neither man making a demonstration of any sort until after they'd been ordered from the game. I do know that my account was accurate at least. Summing it up, as I said at the beginning of this comment, I bring it up again only because a serious charge has been placed unfairly at our door. To let it stand without comment would be a cowardly thing. So I've given you the charges, the newspaper angle, and now I'll report briefly what I said. As I saw umpire Johnson motion Sewell out of the game for making a harmless gesture of hopeless despair, and when I saw him immediately point Dykes to the bench as he walked slowly and quietly toward him without making so much as a gesture, I declared that if the umpire really had ejected these two important men in such vital series for so trivial a reason, he didn't rate as a major league umpire. That was meant as a reflection on no one else but the umpire, which I believe is obvious. We're told to report the game as we see it. Perhaps there's an intimation that we make no personal comments, yet similar to those that I uttered, made by the writers, and are called fair. I leave it to you fans. As I leave it as a radio announcer, I deny responsibility for Sunday's episode in any greater degree than anyone else. If we were responsible to any extent, I'm deeply sorry. And as for my opinion of anyone throwing missiles onto a ball field, anyone who heard me Sunday knows my sentiments, which are not complimentary and not at all mild. Perhaps those comments are uncalled for at the present time, but I don't think so. The field announcer is announcing the lineups, and Uncle George in there is writing them down as he does it, so that we'll have the thing all ready for us in just a moment when he finishes. The thing has been finished, and I think George will be out here in just a minute with that thing. You ready, Georgie? You missed part of it? Well, I'm ashamed of you, George. Why did you miss part of it? What part did you miss? Part of the Philadelphia lineup or part of the White Sox lineup? Philadelphia, huh? Well, you mean it starts with Finney? Oh, no. Finney's back before the pitcher. Oh, Finney is. Oh, you mean Newsom is batting before the pitcher? Yeah, Newsom's batting before the pitcher. Yeah, Finney, Moses, Dean, Puccinelli, Johnson, Higgins, Hayes, Newsom, and Fink, huh? Well, we didn't miss anything. It's bad. White Sox lineup, I think, is the same lineup. Pyatt is in there, and Cleavage is in there, and Sewell and Cain. Well, that's all right. I don't know how this wind is going to take care of this scorecard here, but we'll try our best. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can give you those lineups. For Philadelphia, Finney first. No, Finney is in left. Moses center. Dean first. Puccinelli right. Johnson second. Higgins third. Frank Hayes catching. Newsom short. And Fink, F-I-N-K, the pitcher. For the White Sox, Radcliffe left. Rosenthal center. Cleavage right. Banura first. Appling short. Minter Hayes second. Wyatt third. Sewell catching. And Cain pitching. And the umpires will be Quinn behind the plate and McGowan on the bases. Now I imagine the umpires will be out here. In fact, I see them coming along out here right now, which means the ball game will be underway very shortly. And so, in order that we get our little chores, including the scores, taken care of downtown, why, we'll do a little return to the studio.
Because the chassis parts of your car are out of sight, all too often they're out of mind. But if you could look under your car as you drive along, to see the mile after mile pounding these vital parts receive, you'd give these vital chassis parts the best lubrication you can get. So drive into the nearest Texaco station and ask for a Marvac job. Marvac is the scientifically applied Texaco chassis lubricant that lasts twice as long as old-fashioned grease. It's used by the largest bus companies and airlines in the country because it lubricates better and for a longer time. Marvac is a tough lubricant with a strong lubricating film that won't break down under the hammering impacts of hard, fast driving. It guards your car against chassis repairs and the loosening up that quickly depreciates its value. Marvac adds to your riding enjoyment. Don't drive a noisy, expensive-to-operate car. Tomorrow is your Texaco dealer for a Marvac job. You'll drive out a quieter, easier-handling car, a car that you'll find safer and more economical to run. And now, while we're waiting for the baseball game to start, we'll give you the schedule of the other games to be played in both leagues this afternoon. In the National League, in New York, the Cubs are playing the Giants this afternoon, and the game is already in the first half of the third inning. At the end of the first half of the third, the Giants lead the Cubs 1-0. Lee and Hartnett are working for the Cubs, Gabler and Mancuso for the Giants. The doubleheader baseball game in Philadelphia between the Phils and the Cincinnati Reds have been postponed. Both games are postponed because of wet grounds. In Brooklyn, the St. Louis Cardinals play a doubleheader ball game against the Dodgers. At the end of the first half of the seventh inning, the Dodgers are leading the Cardinals by a score of 13-4. Marvelly and Davis working for the Cards, Longo and Berries starting for the Dodgers with Baker pitching in the seventh. The first game of the Twinville in Boston between the Bees and the Pirates was taken by the Bees 4-1. Swift and Patton worked for the Pirates with Welch pitching in the eighth, McFadden and Lopez the battery for the Bees all the way. The Bees won the first game 4-1. In the second game, the batteries for the Pirates, Weaver and Patton, for the Bees, Smith and Mueller. Now over to the American League. In St. Louis, the Browns take on the Boston Red Sox this afternoon, the game starting at 4 o'clock. In Detroit, the Tigers play another game with the New York Yankees. The warm-up pitchers for the Yankees, Rupping, for the Tigers, Sullivan. In Cleveland, the Indians play a doubleheader ball game with the Washington Senators. At the end of the first half of the fourth inning, the Indians are leading the Senators 8-5. Cohen and Millie started for the Senators with Appleton pitching in the third, and the Indians starting Lee and Pitlack with Hildebrand taking over the mound duties in the third. And now for a look at the standing of the clubs in both leagues. In the National League, the Chicago Cubs are still in first place. They've played 91 games, of which they've won 57 and lost 34. Second place, St. Louis Cardinals, 2.5 games behind. Third place, New York Giants, whom the Cubs are playing today in New York. They're in third place, 8 games behind. Fourth place, Pittsburgh Pirates, 10 full games behind. Fifth, Cincinnati Reds, 12 games behind. Sixth, Boston Bees, 14 games behind. And in seventh, Philadelphia Phillies, 21.5 games behind. And in eighth place, the Brooklyn Dodgers, 24 games behind. In the American League, the New York Yankees are in first place. They've played 96 games, of which they've won 63, lost 33. Second, Cleveland Indians, 9 games behind. Third, Boston Red Sox, 10.5 games behind. Fourth, Detroit Tigers, 12.5 games behind. And the Chicago White Sox are in fifth place, 13 games behind the New York Yankees. And now I see that Hal Totten is ready, and we'll go back to Comiskey Park to the baseball game brought to you by permission of the Chicago White Sox and the Philadelphia Athletics to stimulate interest in our national game and in your local team. Take it, Hal Totten.
Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen, from the ballpark. And the Athletics' first hitter, Finney, is already up there at the plate waiting to hit. The only trouble is that there's no White Sox on the field. Really good. There they come out of the dugout. And on their way out, Krivich started out, and Luke Appling grabbed him by the neck and pivoted around him to run out to his position. And the Sox boys trot out on the field with Sugar Cain walking out to finish his warm-up on the mound with Luke Sewell. Cain has been absolute murder to this Philadelphia club ever since he left them. With St. Louis, he beat them continually, and he's done it with the White Sox, except that the other day when they were hitting everything everybody threw anyway, he couldn't stop them after Mr. Evans started getting his ticket to Kansas City. That ticket was well punched. Did I tell you what Red I met him as I went downstairs after the game. He was already on his way up the office to get his transportation. He took it good-naturedly. He knows he'll be back. He looked up at me and he says, "Hey, Al," and I said, "Well, hello, Red." He says, "Boom, boom, boom." Boy, boom, boom. All he heard was base hit, but he knew that's all he heard. Well, we're almost ready to go now. The Sox infield starts to talk it up. As he finishes his warm-up, the ball goes out to second. Have a nice, cute little arrangement this afternoon. I don't know whether the official scorer is still going to refuse to pass the word along to the radio announcer, so the radio announcer's had an election, and I'm elected the radio official scorer. How do you like that? Well, I don't have to score anything on that one, because Finney, as he did 2 days ago, started on the first pitch and drove it hard out into left center for a base hit, just in a good spot right between the outfielders that lets him get to second base. That's the third day in a row in which Finney has gone after the first pitch, and the second of those 3 times that he's driven it out for a base hit. A double to left center by Finney, putting him on second base, with nobody out in the first inning for the Athletics, and Moses. Well, Wally Moses is up there at the plate. Another left-handed hitter and a dangerous one, very fast man. And the A's center fielder, Cain, looks around rather surprisingly at the runner on second base. Now gets ready to pitch, throws, and Moses bunts the ball perfectly, but it rolls foul to the left of the plate. Started out like a perfect bunt, rolling along toward third base just far enough so that he had a very good chance of even beating it out, although they were playing for a bunt, because he's very, very fast. But the ball rolled foul, and it's strike one on Moses. 1 strike to count. And Cain out there gets his sign again. He's ready to pitch, looks back to second, and throws. And the hitter acted as though he wanted to bunt again, but the pitch was high and wide. He let it go by for ball 1. The count is 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike on Moses. 1-1 the count. Cain throws again, and ball 2 misses the outside corner down around the knees, and it's 2-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cain stretches, looks back at second base, throws again, and the hitter gets the 3rd ball. It also misses the outside corner down around the knees, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike on Moses. 3-1 the count. 1 is the count. She throws again, and the hitter takes ball 4. It's inside and low, and he gets a base on ball. And now the A's are starting out as they did the day before yesterday by acting very, very dangerous out here. Cain walks slowly in toward the plate, talking to umpire Quinn. I don't think he's talking a little bit, but I don't think he's really objecting to those decisions, because every pitch there looked like a bad ball. And so the A's have runners on first and second with nobody out. And Chubb Dean, the first baseman, a dangerous hitter, left-handed hitter, is up there at the plate. Cain finally seemed to get settled there in the mound. They certainly expected one this time. And Dean reaches out and bunts the ball perfectly. Pyatt comes in, gets it, throws to first base. And Ventura, racing back, shifts across the back and takes the throw. Perfect sacrifice by Dean, the play going from Pyatt to Ventura for the first out in the first inning, moving Finney to third base and Moses to second. So the A's have runners on second and third with 1 out of the first inning, and George Puccinelli, Big Pooch, Husky right-handed hitter, is up there at the plate. Pitcher starts his wind-up, throws, and the hitter takes it inside and low for ball 1. 1 ball called.
throws, and it's ball 2. Well, Shug's having trouble getting that ball over the plate today. That makes it 2-0, 2 balls and no strikes on Puccinelli. 2-0. And there's the third ball. It missed the inside corner across the waist to make it 3 balls and no strikes. How do you like that whistle, George? Isn't that cute? Fans might wonder what that whistle is. Well, that's the wind blowing through the slats, these boards in the rear of the grandstand. It sings all sorts of keys. There's the 4th ball, high and wide. Pooch gets a base on balls, and the A's have the bases full with only 1 man out of the first inning, and Bob Johnson, the second baseman, is at bat. Johnson up there at the plate, tosses one bat aside, another right-handed hitter and a dangerous one. Pitcher winds up, pitch the first one to him, throws, and the hitter takes it inside and low for ball 1. 1 ball called. Ready out there again. Winds up, pitches, and it's a strike. Finally got one in there. A strike over the heart of the plate, waist high in the count. Is 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cain winds up again. Throws, and Johnson swings it a high fly to right field. Krivich is waiting back there under it. Follows it over as the wind carries it toward the foul line, makes the catch, and starts the ball toward the plate. Benura cuts it off, throws to second, and the runner is out sliding in there, but the run from third base had already scored. Run from third base had already scored. It goes as a double play from Krivich to Benura to Appling. Krivich to Benura to Appling. Ending the inning, but not until Finney had already scored on Johnson's fly to Pete. So it's 1 run in the first inning for the A's. 1 run, 1 hit, and 1 man left on base. Score is 1-0 in favor of the Athletics. The White Sox comes out in the last half of the first inning. Rip Radcliffe, as usual, the first man at bat. Radcliffe, the first man up there. And they're waiting, talking to umpire Quinn. Got 3 umpires out here today. I saw one in 2 at the beginning. See how they're lined up. Different lineup is 2 and 3 show on the board. McGowan and Quinn. McGowan is behind the plate. Quinn on first. Oh, Hubbard rejoined him. Swell. And McGowan working behind the plate for the... he should be behind the plate. I had these umpires mixed up for no reason at all. McGowan was on the bases yesterday. McGowan behind the plate. Quinn on first and Hubbard on third. Incidentally, it's very easy to mix up McGowan and Quinn because they look a great deal alike. And McGowan gets a big kick out of the fact that John Quinn is now just almost duplicating every move that Bill makes. Quinn is, as I said the other day, a fellow who has improved as an umpire more than almost any man ever did in 1 year. Of course, umpires, like ball players, have their bad year, and the first year is always a little bit shaky. If they have the right attitude, work hard, they come through that year and then become a better umpire. And that's what Quinn certainly did. He's quite an umpire now, good, steady man, and he's worked hard at it. Well, we're ready to go in the last half of the first inning. Radcliffe at bat. Pitcher winds up with a double windmill wind-up, and rip swings, hit the first one into left field, but it's right straight out to Finney, who makes the catch easily for the first out. 1 out of the first inning for the White Sox, and Rosenthal is at bat. Hubbard happens to be one first-year man that has shown no signs of being very much of a weakling out there. He's been very, very good. throws the first one, and Rosenthal gets a good strike over the inside corner down around the knee. One strike on Larry. And the pitcher winds up again, throws, and it's a curveball wide and low for ball one, making the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Rosenthal. Hitting for the White Sox with 1 out in the first inning. Again, the pitcher throws. Larry swings it, an easy bounder down to Johnson, who fumbles it, recovers it, throws to first, and the runner is safe. And it's an error by Johnson. Error by Johnson. It's Rosenthal on first base with 1 out in the first inning. And Mike Kredich, the right fielder, is at bat. Kredich up there at the plate. Right-handed hitter, stocky little chap. So looks at first base, then throws, and Mike takes a wide one across the knees for ball 1. 1 ball call. Ready again, takes another look at first, throws, and Mike swings the line, a foul down the right field line, back into the seats, and it's 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ready once more, throws, and Mike swings in an easy bounder down to the pitcher who gets it, fumbles it, picks it up, throws to first, and the runner is out for the second out of the inning. Rosenthal going to second base. And there's a 2 out in the first inning for the White Sox. 2 out, and the man on second base with Zeke Ventura up there at the plate. Ventura at bat. Right-handed hitter, husky fellow, and a dangerous one. Stands there waiting to speak, is getting a sign from Hayes. And there's a ball inside and low, making it 1 ball call. 1 ball on Ventura. Call, and the pitch is ready out there again. He throws, and the hitter takes it inside across the chest for ball 2. That makes it 2-0, 2 balls and no strikes on Venura. 2-0 the count. Again, the pitch is ready, takes a look back at second, throws, and Zeke swings in a slow ball high out into left field for a long, lazy fly. Then he has it, and it's 3 out. No runs, no hit, 1 error, and 1 man left on base in the last half of the first inning. And the score at the end of the first inning of this game between the White Sox and Philadelphia Athletics is 1-0 in favor of the Athletics at the end of the first inning. Before starting on a long drive, be sure to have the crankcase of your car drained and refilled with a proper grade of new Texaco motor oil. There is an oil that is known from coast to coast. You can get it everywhere, and wherever you get it, it's always of the same high quality. The difference it makes in the operation of your car is amazing. Try new Texaco motor oil. Try it today if you haven't tried it before, and it'll be well worth the try. You'll gain by it in many, many ways. Happened to run into Joe Barry, the secretary of the White Sox, downstairs for the game, and he tells me that Will Corrigan of Lawler, Iowa, a personal friend of his, is here enjoying the ball game as his guest today. The first pitch is a strike. for strike two, and there's 2 strikes on Piggy Higgins. He swings the next to hit a ball on the ground back into the left of the plate, and it's still 2 strikes on Piggy Higgins, the Athletics third baseman. Back to start the second inning. Cain stands out there massaging that ball pretty carefully. Finally swings around, steps on the slab, starts his wind up, and throws, and the hitter swings his head, a high fly out into short left center. Rosenthal's jogging in easily, and Appling circles out there to make the catch. So Rosenthal and Radcliffe are jogging in, but Appling was out there to make the catch easily, and it's 1 out in the second inning. The wind today is very, very strong, as you can tell by that whistle that you hear of the wind blowing through the boards in the back of the second deck here, and it's blowing from the north, slightly northeast, blowing right back toward the plate. 1 out in the second inning for the Athletics, and Frankie Hayes, the A's catcher. Hey, they're playing the scale now. Hayes up there at the plate with 1 out of the second inning. Starts to wind up pitches, and Frank takes a curveball wide for ball 1. 1 ball called. Pitcher again is winding up. He throws, and Frank takes a wide one across the knees for ball 2. So it's 2-0, 2 balls and no strikes on Frank Hayes. Got the ball over well for Higgins, but he's having a little trouble getting it over for Frank. Pitcher's ready again, throws. The hitter swings in a bounder out into left field for a base hit. It went out between Platt and Appling. Pretty well hit, and it's a base hit. Putting Hayes on first base with 1 out of the second inning. And Newsom, Whitey Newsom, the A's shortstop, is up there at the plate. Newsom at bat. Pitcher takes a look over there first. Looks at the plate. Gets his sign. Pitches. Newsom runs up on the ball, tried to punch it to right, but he fouled it over against the stand to the right of the plate. And it's 1 strike on Newsom. 1 strike to count. Stands there beside that new ball with his bare hands, get that shine off, get it so he can hold it and control it. First and pitches, and the hitter takes it inside across the waist for ball 1. Count is 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike on Newsom. 1-1 to count. And there's ball 2, a high fastball outside, making it 2-1. 2 balls and 1 strike on Lamar Newsom, known as Whitey. The A's shortstop. That was 1 out in the second inning. And Hayes on first base. Throws again, and Newsom hits 1 out into left center, a little looping fly, and it drops in there for a little Texaco leaguer. Radcliffe gets the ball fast, throws it to second base. The Athletics have runners on first and second with 1 out in the second inning. And Herman Fink, the Athletic pitcher, is up there at the plate. He's a right-handed pitcher, and I also notice now he bats right-handed. Walks slowly up there, stops to rub dust over his hands, and then steps up to the plate. And there's the first pitch. It's inside and low for ball 1. 1 ball called. Out there again. Pitcher looks back at second. Pitcher, the hitter hits a line drive out to Jackie Hayes, who turns and throws to Benura at first base. It's another double play. That ball was very well hit. Hayes leaped far to his left, grabbed it on the line, and then with both runners having been on the go, as soon as the hitter swung, apparently it was a hit and run play on it. Fink must be a better hitter than a lot of pitchers. Neither runner had a chance to get back to his base, and it was easy for Hayes to throw to Benura at first, doubling Newsom for the third out. So it's no runs, 2 hits. 1 man left on base the first half of the second inning. And the score remains 1-0 in favor of the Athletics as the White Sox come to bat in the last half of the 7th of the second. Getting this ball game over fast. And Luke Appling will be the first man at bat. I think is already there warming up, and Appling stands at the plate watching. Boy, what an ideal day for just being out in the air and getting a lot of sunshine this is. Moss, the reserve catcher's down there warming up the pitcher, but now the other pitcher comes walking out of the dugout, is almost up to the plate. Moss going to take another warm-up throw. Finally throws the ball out to second base, where the second baseman and shortstop are standing alongside the bag. Johnson gets it, juggles it, but flips it backhanded to Newsom. He returns it to pitcher, and now the Keystone men back to their positions, backing up and talking to each other as they go, as Mink takes his place on the mound, and Luke Appling steps up to bat. Appling at bat, start the second inning. The score 1-0 in favor of the Athletics. Goes through a double or a triple windup, I don't know which, so Luke swings, hits a long high fly to left field, but it looks easy for Finney. He's jogging over toward the foul line and makes the catch easily for the first out of the second inning. 1 out of the second inning for the White Sox, and Jackie Hayes, the White Sox second baseman, is at bat. Winds up and throws, and Jackie swings, hit a ball into center field. Looks like an easy fly. Center fielder jogging in under it, and makes the catch without any trouble for the second out. Just letting the boys hit that ball into the air, and with the wind holding it up the way it is, almost always somebody can get under it. It makes it 2 out of the second inning for the Sox, and Tony Pyatt, White Sox third baseman, while Jimmy Dykes is taking this little rest down there, is up there at the plate. Pyatt at bat. Winds up, throws, and it's a fast one that misses the inside corner about waist high for ball 1. 1 ball called. Hank looks around the boys in the field and gets ready again. Busy time. Starts his wind up. Pitches, and the hitter takes a strike over the outside corner letter high, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Pyatt. 1-1. Throws again, and there's ball 2 wide and low, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. He's throwing a lot of slow stuff at Tony, trying to make him go after that change of pace. So it's 2 balls and 1 strike on Pyatt. Hank winding up again. Pitches, and the hitter swings and misses a slow curve that time for strike 2. Looked very funny going around on that one, because he went around with almost no swing at all. He just so completely missed the ball. He was trying to stop up, but too late. So it's 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fink throws again, and Pyatt leans back to get the third ball inside. And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes on Tony Pyatt. 3-2 is the count. Here comes the 4th ball. It's over the plate, but too low, and Pyatt gets a base on ball. So Luke Sewell, who was standing down there waiting, takes off the shin guard, which he was still wearing, and walks up to the plate. Dodger Hayes walks out into the infield to talk to Fink. Turns around, starts back behind the plate. Steps off the slab, takes a look around at the boys, then gets ready to pitch again, takes another look around, and Luke steps back out of the box. He's back up at the plate again. He's out there looking around, finally is set. Ready to pitch, pitches, and the catcher calls for pitch out, leaps out and grabs the ball because Pyatt had made a break as though to go to second, but he fades back to first, and the pitch is wide for ball 1. 1 ball called. The runner's really on to go now. The hitter takes a high one wide, and Pyatt slides in safely, getting past the shortstop who had to go over to the first base side of second to make the catch. So Pyatt has a stolen base, and it puts him on second base with 2 out in the second inning. And Luke Sewell still at bat. The count now of 2 balls and no strikes. 1-0 on Sewell. Fred talking it up down there plenty, trying to get the boys to get things moving. Pink pitches, and Luke fouls this one onto the roof of the stand above and to the right of the plate for strike one. The count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Sewell. Glenn won the count. Looks back at second base and throws again, and Sewell swings. The pop fly coming down, foul out near first base. The catcher follows over there and makes the catch almost down to the visiting dugout for the third out. So it's no runs, no hits, 1 man left on base in the second inning for the White Sox. And at the end of the second inning, the Athletics still lead the White Sox by a score of 1-0. May we remind you again that the offer is still open of the 1936 Texaco scorebook. People that haven't obtained it or have obtained one and have it practically filled, better get your request card in for another one. This attractive book contains not only the complete layout of pictures of the White Sox and the Cubs, their rosters and league schedules, but a complete scoring system, the same one we've used in the press box for many, many years, with illustrations and explanations of how to work it, examples of it, and the official scoring blanks, the same as we've also used up here for many, many years, in fact, since the start of the game, practically, for 17 full games. So to get this book, all you have to do is stop in at any Texaco station, fill it in with your name and address, put a 1-cent stamp on it, and mail it, and that scorebook will be sent to you. We're ready to go now in the third inning with Lou Finney, the Philadelphia left fielder, leadoff man at bat. They call time for a moment while Jackie Hayes goes over at first with Luke Appling's assistant, and now alone is fastening that second base down a little tighter, seem to be getting a little loose. Now the boys are back in position, and Finney, who opened the game with a double on the first pitch and eventually scored the lone run so far, is up there taking the first pitch for a strike over the outside corner about knee-high. 1 strike is the count. She winds up again, throws, and the hitter swings, hit a high fly out into left center. Rosenthal's waiting for it out there, makes the catch, and it's 1 out of the third inning. 1 out of the third inning for the Athletics, and Moses, Wally Moses, the center fielder, is at bat. Moses is up there. Pitcher starts to wind up, pitch the first one to Wally, throws, and the hitter swings, hit a bounder back past the pitcher. Appling comes over, grabs it on a hard try, and fumbles it, but the runner is safe. And I think, what do you think on that, George? Well, we'll give him a base hit on it. Give him a base hit because he had to go over fast near second base to get it, and then fumbled it on a tough try out there. He was a hard one because he had to go a long ways to get it, and reaching on the dead run for a ball taking a bad hop, it got away from him and goes as a scratch hit, says the radio official scorer today. Hitter hits the next one for a high foul going into the stands back and drives to the plate, goes up on the roof of the stands above third base, and it's strike 1. 1 strike on Dean. Moses on first base with 1 out of the third inning for the Athletics. And the pitcher waits there again. Cain has his time. He pitches and Dean swings and misses for strike 2. Swung well around on that ball. Umpire McGowan, in that very careful way he has of studying plays, thought a second, take a look at where that bat was, and then called it a strike, or waved it a strike. He may have called it before that, but he got out where he could see how far he swung. And now the hitter hits the next one into left field for a base hit. Ball went out there fast on the ground between Hyatt and Appling for a base hit into left field by Dean, moving Moses to second base. And the Athletics have runners on first and second again with 1 out in the third inning. And Puccinelli, George Puccinelli, the right fielder, is up there at the plate. Hits the first one right back at the pitcher who throws it clear into center field. And the runner from second is round at third and is coming home. The ball is coming in at the plate, but he scores and Sewell cuts the throw off, and they get the runner, now they missed him going into second base. He got in there safely. Error on the throw. Error on the throw. Back at second base by Cain. He should have had the third double play in 3 innings there. If he made any kind of a throw, but he threw the ball behind Appling as he was dashing over to the base instead of in front of him, and it went clear into center field for very bad error on what should have been an easy double play to end the inning, and as a result, another run scores, and the runners are on second and third. Cain winds up, throws the first one at Johnson, who takes it inside and low for ball 1. So winds up again, pitches, and it's a high one inside. Give him a base hit because he had to go over fast near second base to get it, and then fumbled it on a tough try out there. He was a hard one because he had to go a long ways to get it, and reaching on a dead run for a ball, taking a bad hop, it got away from him. It goes as a scratch hit, says the radio official scorer today. Hitter hits the next one for a high foul going into the stands, back and drive to the plate, goes up on the roof of the stands above third base, and it's strike 1. 1 strike on Dean. Moses on first base with 1 out in the 3rd inning for the Athletics. And the pitcher waits there again. Cain has his time. He pitches and Dean swings and misses for strike 2. Swung well around on that ball. Umpire McGowan, in that very careful way he has of studying plays, thought a second, took a look at where that bat was, and then called it a strike, or waved it a strike. He may have called it before that, but he got out where he could see how far he swung. And now the hitter hits the next one into left field for a base hit. Ball went out there fast on the ground between Hyatt and Appling for a base hit into left field by Dean, moving Moses to second base. And the Athletics have runners on first and second again with 1 out in the 3rd inning. And Puccinelli, George Puccinelli, the right fielder, is up there at the plate. Hit the first one right back at the pitcher, who throws it clear into center field, and the runner from second is round at third and is coming home. The ball is coming in there at the plate, but he scores, and Sewell cuts the throw off, and they get the runner. Now they missed him going into second base. He got in there safely. Error on the throw. Error on the throw. Back at second base by Cain. He should have had the third double play in 3 innings there. He made any kind of a throw, but he threw the ball behind Appling as he was dashing over to the base instead of in front of him, and it went clear into center field for very bad error on what should have been an easy double play to end the inning, and as a result, another run scores, and the runners are on second and third. Cain winds up, throws the first one at Johnson, who takes it inside and low for ball 1. She winds up again, pitches, and it's a high one inside for the second ball, making it 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes on Johnson. Waiting out there again for the sign, starts to wind up. Pitches, and Johnson got the 3rd ball inside. He doesn't seem to want to take a chance on him. He'd rather fill that base out there with this man that give him anything good to hit at. While he won't walk him on purpose, he'd rather do that. There's the next one, the 4th one. They really do throw wide on purpose, and it gives Johnson a base on balls, which fills the bases for the Athletics. In the 3rd inning, 1 out, 1 run home. Hayes now leading the White Sox by a score of 2-0, and Higgins, Pinky Higgins, the Athletics 3rd baseman, is at bat. Another right-handed hitter and a dangerous one. Hits the first one and bounded down to Pine, who grabs it, runs over and starts to, and throws the ball clear over against the stand after finally making up his mind of what to do. 1 run scores, the other runner 2 runs score, and the other runners get to second and third. Pine got that ball, started to run over to get it, and I called 2 errors on that. An error on the fumble, which let the man get to first. Let's see, would that be right? Yeah, an error on the fumble and then an error on the throw. 2 errors. Fumbling error and a throwing error, both on Plant, which scores 2 runs and leaves runners on second and third. There's only 1 out in the third inning, and Frank Hayes at bat. Winds up, throws the first one, and the hitter swings, hit a high fly into center field. Center fielder Rosenthal's waiting back there for it. He's under it, he has it, and the runner from third is going home easily after the catch with the 4th run of the inning. Plant was very peculiar on that play. He got the ball and seemed undecided what play to make. He started to run over to third base to get the man there, and then the man ran right in front of him. He started to tag him, and then finally made up his mind to throw to first, and the runner was already at first, and the throw went clear over Venura's head, and that runner got to second base, and 2 runs scored on it. And the hitter at bat now, Newsom, swings hard at the first pitch and misses it for strike 1. Back at second again, pitches, and the hitter swings in another fly into center field. Rosenthal starts in, backs up, and then does come in and make the catch easily for the 3rd out. And one of the wooziest innings of the year, or half innings of the year, is over with in a great big hurry. 4 runs, 2 hits, 3 errors, and 1 man left on base in the first half of the 3rd inning. And the score is 5-0 in favor of the Athletics as the White Sox come to bat in the last half of the 3rd, with Cain, the pitcher, due to be the first hitter. He's walking slowly up there toward the plate. Rather disgruntled young man. He himself had the chance to get out of that inning without a run scoring when he had a chance to make a double play there on Dean going to second, but he threw the ball into center field to let the first run of the inning score. And after that, 3 more runs scored, and all 4 of them were definitely due to errors. And for that reason, there were 4 unearned runs that inning, which gives the Athletics a 5-0 lead. Now the Sox better get going if they're going to get back in this ball game, but they're a hustling group. You can't tell what's liable to happen. They haven't made a hit yet. They've had 2 men on base, 1 on an error, 1 on a base on balls. And here is Cain at bat to start the last half of the 3rd inning. And he takes the first one wide across the waist for ball 1. Are you going to get buttered all over a little business, George? 1 ball called. Pitcher again winds up, throws, and it's ball 2. It's over the plate but too low, and the count is 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes on Cain. Boy, you should see me try to talk with popcorn in my mouth. Here comes ball 3 wide across the knees, and it's 3 balls and no strikes on Cain. 3-0 the count. Walks back on the slab again. He's winding up. Throws, and the hitter takes ball 4. It's over the plate but too low. And Cain opens the inning with a base on balls. Well, when a pitcher walks the other pitcher to open an inning, why, you can't tell what's going to happen. Sometimes that presages all sorts of excitement. Call time for a moment while the bat boy takes Cain's leather jacket down to him. He pulls it on. It's brisk breeze. It's got the coolness of the lake with it and could very easily tighten up a pitcher's arm out there in it. Now the pitcher is ready again, and he's got a pitch to Rex. And the Ripper takes the first pitch inside across the knees for ball 1. 1 ball called. Time is called as a balk. The pitcher balked out there. He started to wind up and then stopped and then started his pitching motion again without stepping off the rubber. And umpire McGowan called it instantly, even before before the two White Sox coaches start to call it. And so Fink is charged with a balk. If that isn't shown in your, I think it is shown in the scoring system, a little BK, capital B, small K in the scorebook. First pitch to, next pitch to Radcliffe rather, is outside and low for ball 2, making it 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Boy, that wind blows the noise of that train over here like it was right across the street. It's 3 blocks away. Over east of the park. 2-0, and there is a wide one. No, catch at the outside corner, a little above the knees for strike 1, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike on Radcliffe. 2-1 the count. Ripper swings the next to drive it out into center field for a good base hit. And the ball goes clear through the center fielders, going clear to the wall. Radcliffe's around first base, around second base, pulling up at third base. And he starts for the plate. The ball is coming in. But Radcliffe scores easily to give the Sox 2 runs. It's a single and an error, not a home run, naturally. And little old Ripper was really going that time. Goes as a single for Radcliffe, center field, and then he scored all the way, went all the way around to score. Haas is going to bat for Rosenthal here. I don't know whether Larry had something happen to him or hurt himself or what, but Haas is up there in his place. And he takes the first pitch for a strike over the outside corner about waist high. 1 strike on Haas. And there's strike 2. It's over the outside corner about knee high to make it 2 strikes. 2 strikes to count. He swings the next one to drive it out into left field for a good base hit. Single to left field by Hart. And first pitch to Mississippi side for strike 1. 1 to count. Think ready out there again. Takes a look at first base, then pitches. And Mike takes a slow one inside across the chest for ball 1, making it 1 ball and 1 strike on Krevich. 1-1 to count. Throws again, and Mike gets a ball. It's over the plate, but a little bit too low, and it makes it 2 balls and 1 strike on Krevich. 2-1. Pitcher suddenly started to throw the ball into the plate. He thought the umpire was calling for it, but he was merely calling time because Krevich had stepped part way out of the batter's box. But he's up there again, and so Fink is ready to pinch, throws. Mike swings, hit a ground ball to the shortstop who gets it, throws to second. Johnson throws to first, and it's a double play, which makes the first 2 outs of the inning and wipes the players off the bases. A double play going Newsom to Johnson to Dean. The Athletics suddenly had started to warm somebody up in the bullpen, but now he goes back and sits down again because it looks as though the danger is over. He wasn't going to leave him in there as long as Mr. Doyle was yesterday. Now Fink pitches to Benura, who takes a strike over the heart of the plate about waist high. 1 strike on Benura. Winding up again, throws, and it's a curveball wide and low for ball 1, so the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1. Hit a long drive away out to deep left center, and Moses waits back there, makes the catch for the 3rd out, and it ends the 3rd inning with 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and nobody left on base for the White Sox, and the score is 5-2 in favor of the Athletics at the end of the 3rd inning. And now, for scores, 3 batteries from other cities, we return to the studio.
The National League. In New York, the Giants lead the Cubs at the end of the first half of the 7th inning, 4-0. The Ian Hartnett, the opening battery for the Cubs, with Bryant pitching in the fifth. Gabler and Mancuso going the entire route for the Giants so far. In Brooklyn, the first game of the doubleheader between the Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals was won by the Dodgers, and they had a score of 22-7. Parmalee and Davis worked for the losing Cards, the Dodgers starting Mungo and Berries with Baker pitching in the seventh. The first game of the doubleheader in Boston between the Bees and the Pittsburgh Pirates was won by the Bees 4-1. Patton working for the Pirates with Welch pitching in the eighth, McFadden and Lopez for the Bees the entire route. In the second game in Boston, Weaver and Patton the battery for the Pirates, the Bees using Smith and Mueller. At the end of the first half of the fifth inning, the Pirates lead the Bees 2-1. The warm-up batteries for the St. Louis Cardinal Brooklyn Dodger game, Earnshaw for the Cards, Clark for the Dodgers. The American League in Detroit, the New York Yankees lead the Tigers at the end of the second inning 7-0. In the first game of the doubleheader in Cleveland, the Indians lead the Washington Senators at the end of the eighth inning by a score of 11-6. And now back to Comiskey Park and Al Totten. Take it, Al.
Back at the ballpark for the fourth inning, and we come on the air just after one of the most thrilling plays of the year. Radcliffe came tearing across from left field and made a reaching, scooping, one-handed catch of a fly ball out there, and almost bumped into Appling after catching it, but Radcliffe caught that ball reaching out with one hand and just managed to scoop it off the top of the grass on a beautiful play for the first out. Radcliffe also carrying out, crossed paths with him for just a moment, and I brushed each other, but everybody seems all right. The old roomies out there are almost collided. So it's one out of the fourth, and Finney, the leadoff man, hits the first pitch and drive to right field. Haas tears over to his left, gets it and throws it on in. Change in lineup as a result of Haas batting for Rosenthal. Puts Haas in right field and moves Krivich out to center. Haas got that ball and fell out there for a base hit. He caught it on the hop. So Finney is on first base with one out of the fourth inning, and Moses, Wally Moses, the center fielder, who's letting that drive get through him, let 2 runs score that inning. One of them never would have scored, so the Radcliffe run must go as an unearned run. And Moses fouls the next one into the second deck above him to the left of the plate. It bounds out and over and finally lands down amongst the box seat holders down near the Sox dugout. And it's 1 strike. 1 strike on Moses. Throws the next one, it's inside and low for ball 1, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 on Moses. And Wally swings the next one. Benora leaps high into the air, grabs the ball with a hop, steps on first base and throws the second, and the runner sliding in there is tagged out. Appling almost forgot to tag him. He stepped on the base and then suddenly realized that he had to tag him then because the runner had already been put out at first. There was no force play possible, so he put the ball on him fast and completed the White Sox third double play in 4 innings. They'd have had 4 in 4 innings, except for that error in the third, and they would have been on their way to some sort of a record. As it was, Moses was out, Benora unassisted, and then Benora's throw to Appling at second base, double Finney sliding in for the third out. So it's no runs, 1 hit in the fourth inning for the Athletics, and the score remains 5-2 in favor of the A's as the White Sox come to bat in the last half of the fourth inning. Just had a little visit during the intermission for scores with press for the Reverend Alphonse Dress at Columbia College at Dubuque. And they listen to us out there, and that is the place, if you people don't remember offhand, where Red Faber did his college pitching before he came to the White Sox. So naturally out there, they're very, very loyal White Sox fans. We were awfully happy to see Father Dress. Hope he'll come back again. He said it was a little breezy up here. He was going down to Sun Myrtle. It's warmer. I don't blame him. Here's Appling at bat. Start the last half of the fourth inning. And the pitcher out there takes a look around the boys, sees that they're all set, starts to wind up, and throws. And Luke takes a good strike over the heart of the plate about waist high. 1 strike on Appling. Pitcher again is winding up. He throws, and Luke swings in a pounder down past the pitcher. Second baseman Johnson He gets it easily, throws the first, and Luke is out for the first out in the fourth inning. One out of the fourth inning for the White Sox, and Hayes is at bat. Jackie Hayes up there. She winds up and throws, and Jackie takes a fast one high and inside for ball one. One ball called. And there's ball two high and wide, so the count is 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes on Hayes. Ready again, he's winding up, throws, and Jackie takes a strike over the outside corner about knee-high, making it 2-1. 2 balls and 1 strike on Hayes. Well, Mr. Pennsylvania remembered us today. He forgot us yesterday, came in without blowing. And the next pitch is runs the count to 3-1. 3 balls and 1 strike on Jackie Hayes. Was at bat for the White Sox with 1 out in the fourth inning. She throws again, and it's strike 2. It got the outside corner knee-high, and it's 3-2. Hey, his whistle sounds as though he had caught cold or bronchitis or something. The frog in his throat. 3-2 is the count, but she throws again, and Jackie fouls this one back to the screen. It's still 3 balls and 2 strikes on Hayes. 3-2. Up once more, throws, and Jackie swings in a long drive out to left-hander. Moses going back fast, slows up as the wind gets it and holds it up and makes the catch. Will go pretty well back in left-hander for the second out. That makes it 2 out in the fourth inning for the White Sox. And Tony Pyatt, the White Sox third baseman, is at bat. Pyatt up there at the plate. Takes quite a while getting his sign, finally starts his windup. Throws, and the hitter takes it inside across the waist for ball 1. 1 ball called. Winds up again, throws, and the hitter swings a little pop fly out back at second base, and the shortstop is back there following it as the wind blows. It makes the catch nicely, and it's 3 out. No runs, no hits in the fourth inning for the White Sox. And the score at the end of the fourth inning still stands 5-2 in favor of the Philadelphia Athletics. From coast to coast, more and more car owners are turning to Marpac. They know that when they want dependable, thorough chassis lubrication, they can find it at any Texaco service station with Marpac. They save time and money too, because Texaco Marpac lubrication lasts twice as long as ordinary grease job. First man at bat of the fifth inning for the Athletics. George, you hungry today? I never saw a man eat so much. First you were buttered all over, and now you're red hot, and a piece of cake, and now you're back in the butter all over again. Sure. Dean up there, she takes the first one, lays it down there, down over the heart of the plate, about knee-high for a strike. 1 strike on Dean. Dean throws again, and jump swings, hit a bounder down, and Jackie Hayes that gets it, fumbles it, picks it up again, throws it to first, and the runner is out for the first out in the fifth inning. 1 out in the fifth inning for the Athletics, and Puccinelli is at bat. Puccinelli up there at the plate. Next pitch is wide and low for the second ball, for the first ball. Wait a minute, is that the first pitch to him? Yeah, ball 1. Yeah, that's quite a score. Hitter swings the next, hit a high fly coming down, foul back of the plate. Luke Sewell is back, coming back slowly under it. out in the fifth inning. 2 out in the fifth inning for the Athletics. Bringing Bob Johnson, the A's second baseman, to bat. Johnson up there at the plate. Winding up now. Throws and the hitter swings, hit a ball hard into right field for a good clean base hit. Line single to right by Johnson, putting him on first base with 2 out in the fifth inning. And the next man up there is Higgins, Frank Higgins, known as Pinky Higgins, the A's third baseman. Frank's a pretty husky fellow. When he stands there at the plate, he stands there with the bat held way out in front of him, almost stationary and almost straight up in the air, way out in front of him, waiting for that pitcher to pitch. Standing that way now, and he swings hard at the first one to miss a high, slow curve for strike one. One strike to count. He's ready again. Stretches. Over at first base. Throws the responder right back at Cain, who gets it, throws to first, and it's 3 up. And the score 5-2 in favor of the Philadelphia Athletics as the White Sox come to bat in the last half of the 10th. First White Sox hitter being Cain, the White Sox pitcher. This broadcast of the White Sox Philadelphia game comes to you direct from Comiskey Park, the home of the White Sox in Chicago, as a presentation of your neighborhood Texaco dealer, distributor of Texaco Fire Chief Gasoline. Broadcast comes with the permission of the White Sox and the Athletics to stimulate interest in our national game and in your own local baseball team. This is WCFL in Chicago. Wait a minute, I said Cain was the first man at bat. It's Sewell, the first man up. Luke Sewell, the first man at bat for the White Sox in the fifth inning. You people who were keeping track on the Texaco scorebook probably had me caught up on that long ago. Sewell tosses it through the bat side. He always comes up swinging 3 and steps up there at the plate. The umpire takes a moment to dust the plate. Sewell waits there as Fink looks around the boys. They play Luke a little bit around toward left field. And the pitcher starts his windup and throws, and Sewell takes a fast strike over the heart of the plate about waist high. 1 strike to count. He's ready again, winds up once more, pitches, and it's over the plate but too low for ball 1, making it 1 ball and 1 strike on Luke Sewell. 1-1. Then the pitcher throws a slow ball. Luke hits it out to the third baseman. Higgins gets it, throws to first, and Sewell is out for the first out in the 5th inning. Mr. Fink is pitching himself a nice ball. The last 2 hits, and one of the 2 runs scored against him is earned, 1 unearned. Sugar Cain, White Sox pitcher, walking slowly up there to the plate. And he walks around behind the umpire, takes his place at the plate. Pitcher's winding up, he throws, and it's wide and low for ball 1. 1 ball called. Pitcher again starts to wind up pitches. And it's a strike over the heart of the plate, waist high, making it 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Throws again, and the hitter swings, hit an easy bounder out in front of the plate. Hayes, the catcher, goes out, gets it, throws rather badly, but Dean, who to my mind looks like he has the makings of quite a fielding first baseman as well as a good hitter, reached right out in front of the base runner, grabbed the ball, and then got out of the way to prevent a collision on a very nice play. So it's 2 out in the 5th inning. 2 out in the 5th inning for the White Sox, and Radcliffe. Rip Radcliffe, leadoff man, left fielder, is at bat. Leans over, gets the sign, winds up, pitches, and Rip takes a wide one across the waist for ball 1. 1 ball called. Again, he's winding up. He throws and Radcliffe takes it inside across the waist for ball 2. So it's 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes on the Ripper. 2 balls and no strikes. Winding up again, throws and the hitter takes it for a ball wide and low, and it's 3-0. 3 balls and no strikes on Radcliffe. 3-0. Throws again and Rip takes a strike over the heart of the plate about knee high, and it's 3-1. 3 balls and 1 strike. Throws again, and there's the 4th ball wide across the chest, and Rip gets a base on ball to put him on first base. 2 out in the 5th inning, and Mule Haas is up there at the plate. Haas at bat. So Connie Mack's only got 1, maybe 2 fellas sitting down there in the bench with him. A few in the bullpen, the rest of them on the field. Watching first base, suddenly throws over there. Throw is high, but Dean steps back and takes it. It's just a lob throw. Didn't have much on it, but it wasn't very straight either. Now he pitches, and Haas gets a wide one low for ball 1. 5 consecutive bad pitches by this fellow. Big waits there again as he signs, takes a look at first base, and throws, and it's inside and low for ball 2, making it 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes on Haas. Still watching first base, throws, and the hitter takes it inside and low for ball 3. Well, it really has lost control all of a sudden, hasn't he? That's 3-0. He walked Radcliffe on 4 pitches. Now he's got 3-0 on Haas. Ready again, watches first base. Throws, and there's ball 4, wide and low, and he gets a base on balls also. Hey, the moon on isn't blowing today. It went by without blowing a whistle. So the White Sox have runners on first and second with 2 out in the 5th inning, and Mike Krivich is up there at the plate. Pitcher and catcher have a little confab out in front of the mound. And the A's have a pitcher starting to warm up again in the right field bullpen. Cellini has taken quite a workout out of the bullpen for the Sox this afternoon. Apparently he may be either getting ready for tomorrow or be taking a little tutoring from Money Rule. The first pitch to Krivich is a bad ball wide for ball 1. 1 ball called. Throws again, and Mike swings to push the ball through toward right field. He gets past Johnson, goes out there for a base hit. Runner first, Haas stops at second, and the shortstop, for some reason or other, let the ball get through, but the third baseman, after he deflected it, chased it out and got it before the runners could advance. The throw from right field came right to Newsom. Newsom, for some reason, just tagged it and deflected it and almost rolled to the stand, but Higgins recovered it quickly so the runners couldn't advance. So Krivich singled to right, scored Radcliffe, put Haas on second. And so the White Sox still have runners on first and second. 2 out, 1 run home. Zeke Benura at bat. Score now 5-3 in favor of the Athletics. Benura up there at the plate. And Zeke swings, hit a long drive way out to deep right center. Center fielder's chasing it. Way back there. He might get it. He makes a great dive for the ball and hangs onto it on another sensational play. Man, what a play. Moses carrying across into right center as hard as he could go. Suddenly threw himself headlong and caught that ball and landed right on his face and skidded along. But he held onto the ball and his hands were outstretched, so he couldn't possibly have been just trapping it. He really caught it. And it ended the inning on what looked like a hit that was going to at least tie the score, because that ball was really hit. And Moses is getting a beautiful hand from the fan as he comes in there after making that great play to end the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, 2 men left on base for the White Sox in the last half of the 5th. And the score is 5-3 in favor of the Athletics at the end of the 5th.
Have you sent in your request card for the 1936 Texas Mexico baseball scorebook yet? If not, don't put it off. Thousands of baseball fans are already enthusiastically keeping their own play-by-play records of these games and having lots of fun doing it. The instructions are easy to follow. In them, Hal Totten tells you just how he does it, and there are plenty of blank score sheets for you to use. In addition, in the 1936 Texaco baseball scorebook, you'll find schedules of all major league games, data on all players of both the Cubs and Sox, plenty of other interesting baseball data on both teams. It's easy to get your free copy. Go to any Texaco service station and ask for a request card. Write your name and address on the card, stamp it, and mail it. Stop at any Texaco service station and get your card in the mail tonight. And now back to Comiskey Park for the continuation of the baseball game, brought to you by permission of the Chicago White Sox and the Philadelphia Athletics to stimulate interest in our national game and in your local team. Take it, Hal.
Back at the ballpark for the sixth inning, first man at bat. Frank Hayes lines the ball out into left field for a base hit to open the sixth, and he's on first base. Nobody out in the sixth inning, and Whitey Newsom, the shortstop, is at bat. She gets ready to pitch the first one to him with the first base throws, and he bunts the ball, but it's foul to the right of the plate for strike one. Tried a bumper, went foul. One strike on Newsom. Hayes on first base. Nobody out in the sixth inning. Johnson throws at first, and oh boy, it was a close play, but he got back very close because Cain made a good throw over there. Pitcher throws, and Newsom again tries to bunt, and again it rolls foul. This time, though, it hung right alongside the line, and Vanilla, to make sure of it, scooped it on more foul so that it couldn't hit something and found fair. Coach over there, Lena Blackburn, grabbed it, threw it back to Cain, and Hayes goes back to first base. So it's 2 strikes on Newsom. 2 strikes to count. Throws again for the first ball. It's wide and low, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Newsom. 1 and 2. Here comes the next one, wide and low, and it's ball 2. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Newsom. 2 and 2 to count. Suddenly walks out of the box to dry his hands in the dirt. Umpire calls time. Whitey gets back up to the plate. Pitch is ready. Throws, and the hitter takes a wide one across the knees for ball 3. And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes on Newsom. Three and 2 is the count. Ready again, throws, the runner's on the go, the hitter takes the 3rd strike, and the ball out to second base, gets the runner out. Thirdly, Hayes in taking the ball, tagged the fellow almost in the face. He managed to miss his face, but touched him on the shoulder, and it goes as another double play. Newsom is mad and throws the bat on the ground in disgust as he starts back toward the bench, called out on strike. Umpire McGowan turns around and watches him walk off there to make sure he doesn't make any more of a demonstration. But it's another double play for the White Sox, who now have 4 of them today. They almost had 5. 4 in 6 innings. And Fink, the pitcher, Herman is up there. Throws the first one, and he swings, hit a foul down past first base. Blackburn, who was standing more or less back at the plate, ducked his head and sort of shrunk all up as the ball bounded past him. Not very close. 1 strike on Fink. At bat with 2 out in the 6th inning for the Athletics. Cain throws again, and Fink swings to foul the ball into the stand back at first base. Pretty well back there, back to the aisle. And it's for 2 strikes on Fink. 2 strikes to count. He swings again to miss a curveball inside, striking out for the 3rd out. So it's no runs, 1 hit in the 6th inning for the Athletics. They still lead the White Sox by a score of 5-3. Sox come to bat on the last half of the sixth with Luke Appling, their first man at bat. Appling will be the first hitter in the last half of the sixth inning. This is the third time in a row that Luke has come up there to lead off in an inning. Earl Mack, son of Connie, and fellow who usually warms up the pitchers, catcher by trade, he's old in his playing days, is warming up pitcher. I don't know if Earl did any playing to speak of, but he did some work out with Portland, I believe, as did his brother. Umpire calls for the ball, looks it over pretty carefully, finally decides it's all right. Burns walks out, throws it back to Big so he can continue his warm-up. Meantime, Hayes, the catcher, gets up there to the plate. The ball is thrown out to second base, with Johnson flipping it over to Newsom. Newsom returning at the pitcher. They walk back their positions. Pitcher's on the rubber. And Appling steps up to bat. Appling at bat. Start the last half of the sixth inning. Pitcher starts to wind up, throws, and the hitter leans back to take a ball inside across the shoulders. One ball called on Appling. Pitcher winds up again, pitches, and it's a strike over the heart of the plate, waist high, making it 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike on Appling. And Luke watches a slow one curve wide and low for ball 2. So it's 2 balls and 1 strike on Luke. 2-1. Comes the next pitch, and Luke lets it roll over to the right. Catcher let it roll to the right, rather. Luke let it go by, and it's 3-1. 3 balls and 1 strike on Appling. First man at bat in the last half of the sixth inning of the ball game, in which the Athletics are leading the White Sox by a score of 5-3. Big throws again, and Luke lets ball 4 go by wide. It's a base on balls for Appling, putting him on first base with nobody out in the sixth inning. And Jackie Hayes, White Sox second baseman, steps up there at the plate, stops, looks down to Billy Webb to see if he should take this one or hit at the first one. Apparently got his sign. Now looks back at the pitcher, and Fink has the sign. There's the stretch. He pitches, and it's a slow curve that gets the outside corner about knee-high for strike 1. Strike on Hayes. Ready again, watches first base, then throws, and it's a high one inside for ball 1. It's 1 ball and 1 strike on Hayes. 1-1 the count. The throws again with Appling on the go. Hayes drives the ball out into left center for a good base hit. A good hit and run play in which he drove the ball right through the spot. The shortstop is vacated to go over that and cover second. A good hit and run play which Hayes lines the single to left center, moving Appling to third base. Appling on the go. The shortstop dashed over to cover second. And Hayes just pulled that ball right through the spot he left open. So Appling has no trouble reaching third base. Hayes is winding up the pitcher pretty hard in the bullpen. Tony Pyatt steps up there. Pyatt at bat. He gets ready, watches first, then throws, and Tony swings in a bounder down to the third baseman, and they trap Appling between third and home. Luke runs back there and is out as he slides back in, with the third baseman taking a throw from the catcher. Play went from Higgins to Hayes to Higgins. And Appling is out. These White Sox runners on first and second. Goes to the fielder's choice, putting Pyatt on first base. And Appling was out. Higgins to Hayes to Higgins for the first out. That makes it 1 out in the sixth inning. White Sox runners on first and second. And Luke Sewell is at bat. Watches second base and pitches, and Luke takes the curveball wide for ball 1. One ball called. Money has his side. Pitches, and Toole swings in a high fly to right center. Center fielder and right fielder closing in on it. And the right fielder comes through to make the catch for the short fly for an easy out of the second out of the sixth inning. White Sox still have runners on first and second. 2 out now in the sixth inning. And Cain is at bat. Back at second base and throws, and Shook swings it a high fly down the left field line. Left fielder racing over, and the ball lands just out of his reach as he turns around and leaps into the air to come down, sitting on a roll of canvas down in front of the stand. He hit it head on and would have thrown him right on his face and probably catapulted him into the seat. So it's 1 strike on Cain. Back at second base and pitches again. Cain swings it upon the shortstop coming across, fast grabs it, steps on second base, and forces Bryant out for the third out. Ending the sixth inning with no runs, no hits, no runs, 1 hit, and 2 men left on base. And at the end of the sixth inning, the Philadelphia Athletics are leading the Chicago White Sox by a score of 5-3. Now, once again, for up-to-the-minute scores and complete batteries from other cities, we return to the studio.
In the National League, the Chicago Cubs lost their game to the Giants today by a score of 7-2. The Cubs scored 2 runs, 8 hits, and 2 errors. The Giants 7 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. Leonhardt led the opening battery for the Cubs with Bryant in the 5th, Root in the 8th. Gabriel and Mancuso went the entire route for the Giants. First game of the doubleheader in Brooklyn between the Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals was won by the Dodgers 22-7. In the second game, Earnshaw Ogrodowski, the battery for the Cards. The Dodgers warming up, Clark and Phelps with Butcher pitching in the first. At the end of the first inning, the Cards lead the Dodgers in the second game 3-0. In Boston, the Bees took the first game of the doubleheader from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Scored 2 runs, 8 hits, and 2 errors. The Giants 7 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. Leonhardt led the opening battery for the Cubs with Bryant in the 5th, Root in the 8th. Gabriel and Mancuso went the entire route for the Giants. First game of the doubleheader in Brooklyn between the Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals was won by the Dodgers 22-7. In the second game, Earnshaw Ogrodowski, the battery for the Cards. The Dodgers warming up, Clark and Phelps with Butcher pitching in the first. At the end of the first inning, the Cards lead the Dodgers in the second game 3-0. In Boston, the Bees took the first game of the doubleheader from the Pittsburgh Pirates 4-1. In the second game, at the end of the sixth inning, the score is tied at 3-all. Weaver and Patton, the Pirate opening battery in the second game, with Brown and Finney, the battery in the sixth. Smith and Mueller working for the Bees. In the American League in Detroit, the New York Yankees lead the Tigers at the end of the first half of the fifth inning by a score of 13-0. Ruffing and Dickey working for the Yanks, Sullivan and Myatt for the Tigers, with Walker pitching in the second. First game of the doubleheader in Cleveland between the Indians and the Washington Senators was taken by the Indians 11-6. The batteries in the second game, the Senators, Weaver and Millies. For the Indians, Galehouse and Sullivan. In St. Louis, the Boston Red Sox and Browns are tied with no score at the end of the first half of the first inning, with Ostermuller and Berg working for the Red Sox, the Browns using Hogsett and Giuliani. And now back to Comiskey Park and Hal Totten. Take it, Hal.
Back at the ballpark for the seventh inning. Finney at bat, started off, takes a ball, and then fouls one into the second deck to our left for strike 1. Cain winds up again, throws, and loose swings in a high fly in left field. Left fielder's jogging in under it. Ratcliffe's waiting. Has it, and it's 1 out of the seventh inning. 1 out of the seventh inning for the A's, and Moses, Wally Moses, the center fielder, is at bat. Smoothing the dirt down. Hey, George, they don't think the wind's blowing here. They should have seen me crawling around digging up my pencil and scorebook a minute ago, huh? First pitch to Wally is a slow one that just misses the outside corner across the waist. 1 ball called on Moses. He winds up again, throws, and Wally swings and misses the curveball outside for strike 1. They get 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1. Throws again, and Wally swings, and this is a fastball inside for strike 2. So it makes it 1 ball and 2 strikes on Moses. 1-2. Waits out there again.
Wally swings in a high fly, going foul down back to third base. Pyatt is chasing it over to the stands. The wind blows it back in, and it's still 2 balls and 2 strikes on Moses. 2-2. Little youngster went over there and got that ball right off from the grasp of some man who was trying to get it. 2-2 now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wally swings, hit a bounder. Ventura races over to his right, gets it, tosses to Cain, but Wally, a very fast man, beats it out easily for a base hit. Ball was really Hayes' ball, but Ventura went out to get it, and as a result, they lose that man. It's a base hit for Moses. He's so fast, you can't fool with him. When it comes to a play like that, he's going to beat you. And so Moses is on first base with 1 out of the 7th inning, and Dean, Chubb Dean, the first baseman, is at bat. Curveball inside and low for ball 1. 1 ball called. Throws again, the runner's on the go and hit and run play. The hitter drives the ball into left field for a base hit. Radcliffe fields it fast and throws it into third base, holding the runner from first and second. So it's a single to left field by Dean, moving Moses to second base. Well, Dean can really powder that ball. And that puts Philadelphia runners on first and second with 1 out of the 7th inning. And Puccinelli, the right fielder, is at bat. He throws the first one, and Puch hits a long high fly away out deep left center. Radcliffe's way back there near the end of the scoreboard. Makes the catch. The runner from second is trying to go to third, and he's making it easily. Boy, how that fella can run. He's a streak. A long, long fly away out deep left center, right into the wind, or it would have been into the stands, I believe, with any kind of west wind blowing. It would have been a home run by Puccinelli. As it was caught by Radcliffe. And Moses, a very fast man, easily went to third after the catch. Big husky fellow. Ready to pitch the first one to him. Throws. Bob takes it high and inside for ball 1. 1 ball call. He's ready again. Swings the ball at the plate. Taking quite a long while he rubs up this new ball, smooths the dirt down in front of the slab. He's pitching carefully to Bob. Finally, he's ready. Throws, and Johnson gets ball 2, very high and inside. So it's 2 balls and 1 strike. 2-1 on Johnson. There's ball 3, a fastball inside across the waist. So it's 3 balls and 1 strike on Johnson. 3-1 the count. Cain throws again, and Johnson swings and misses a fastball inside for strike 2. And in swinging and missing it, he swung himself right off his feet. But he got around before he fell. In other words, it wasn't an attempt to get away. When he didn't start to get away from that inside pitch till after he completed his swing. Now the runner from first on the go. Johnson hits a pop fly, coming down foul to the left of the plate. Luke Sewell is over there and makes the catch over in front of the stands for the 3rd out. Cain has pitched mighty fine ball, but in the first part of the game he was wild, and then in that 3rd inning, everything went haywire with all those errors and things, and it was just too bad. So it's no runs, 2 hits, 2 men left on base in the first half of the 7th inning, and the score remains 5-3 in favor of the Athletics as the White Sox come to bat in the last half of the 7th with the head of the batting order, Rip Radcliffe, the first man at bat. Broadcast the White Sox Philadelphia game comes to you direct from Comiskey Park, home of the White Sox in Chicago. As a presentation of your neighborhood Texaco dealer, distributor
of Texaco Fire Chief Gasoline. Broadcast comes with the permission of the White Sox and the Athletics to stimulate interest in our national game and in your own local baseball team. This is WCFL at Chicago. Hank is finishing his warm-up down here with Hayes while Radcliffe stands there waiting to take his turn at bat. Ball finally goes out there to second base. And we're ready to go in the last half of the seventh inning. Crowd sitting down after its seventh inning stretch. Pink slams the ball into his glove a couple of times. First pitch to Radcliffe, a high one wide for ball one. One ball called. And Pink again goes through his windup throws, and it's a ball two. It's inside by the knees. 2-0 on Radcliffe. Ted Lyons is also warming up in the bullpen now, but I imagine he's warming up in preparation for tomorrow. There is strike one, a pretty one over the heart of the plate down around the knees to make it 2 balls and 1 strike on Radcliffe. 2-1. Winding up again, he throws. Radcliffe swings hit a ball out through the shortstop into left field for another base hit, making 2 hits for Ripper today. And it puts him on first base with nobody out in the seventh inning, and Mule Haas is at bat. Haas up there at the plate. Left-handed hitter stands there waiting. Takes a look at first base, throws. Haas takes a slow curve wide for ball one. 1 ball called. He's the leading 5-3. The last half of the seventh inning. Sugar Cain is steady, throws, and the hitter swings, hits the ball in center field. Center fielder comes in fast. The ball lands in front of him, and he makes a grab for it, gets it on the hop, throws it in, and Radcliffe has to stop at second base. The ball wasn't quite short enough to be a Texaco leaguer, but it was a sinker, a little looping fly out into left center, which moved Radcliffe to second base. And the White Sox have runners on first and second. Nobody out in the ninth inning. And Mike Krivich is at bat. Krivich up there. Infield playing around as though they expect a bunt from Mike. Pitcher throws, and Krivich does bunt down toward third base. Third baseman Higgins comes in fast, gets the ball, and throws to first, where Dean had gotten back to make the play. And it's a good sacrifice. Perfect sacrifice by Krivich. Play going Higgins to Dean for the first out in the seventh inning, moving the tying runs to second and third. Hitters are getting Radcliffe around. Leadoff man's been on base 3 times, and they've driven him in all 3 times. Pitcher looks back at second, pitches again, and Appling swings at a high fly, going foul onto the stand above first base, and it's 2 strikes. Sox leading hitter before today's game, but right now he hasn't made a base hit, although he's had a walk. Radcliffe has made 2 hits besides having a walk, and Ripper is out in front again, although not, I don't think, in front of the league. And the hitter hits one into the second deck, a high fly going into the second deck, and it bounds down and knocks a straw hat right off the man sitting down there in the box seat, and everybody got a laugh out of it, including the fellow who lost the straw hat. Boy, it made a mess of that straw hat, too. Plunk right on top. Kurt Plunk. It's still 2 strikes on Appling. And the pitcher throws again. Luke swings and follows this one into the stand, back into the right. So it's still 2 strikes on Luke. Venura's on second base. 1 out, 2 runs home in the 7th inning. White Sox now tied with the Athletics, 5-5. Ready once more, throws, and Luke swings, hit one down past first baseman, is going on down the line. Luke makes the turn, and keeps right on for second base, because the right fielder throws to the plate and pulls in at second base. A single down the right field line by Appling, and he goes to second on the throw to the plate as Venura scores. Give the White Sox the lead for the first time this afternoon. White Sox are leading the ball game now by a score of 6-5. Brings Jackie Hayes to bat. Hayes up there at the plate. With Appling on second base, 1 out, 3 runs home in the 7th inning. That little Lucius Luke came through when it counted, didn't he? And the first pitch to Jackie is a strike over the inside corner, about knee high. 1 strike on Hayes. Ready out there again, throws, and Jackie swings, hit another one into right field. The right fielder comes in fast, grabs the ball, fumbles it for just a moment, then grabs it, throws it to the plate, but the runner scores easily, and it's a base hit with no error. The right fielder couldn't be charged with an error, although he fumbled that ball momentarily after falling to a knees trying to make a diving shoestring catch. No error. Single, no error. Fumbled the ball momentarily, but that was because he'd made that great try and was on his knees and couldn't be expected to handle the ball quickly after making that try for the ball. Scores another run, so the Sox now lead 7-5 and have Hayes on first base. With 1 out, 4 runs home. 25 at bat, swings around, tries to hit the first one to right, but he follows it down the right field line and pretty well back into the seat. Ready again, throws, the hitter swings, hit a bounder down the third base line. Third baseman gets it right over the bag and then fumbles it, and the runner is safe. Higgins got that slow bounder right over the bag, and then dropped it. He apparently was watching to see whether it was fair or not, instead of making the play, forgetting about the foul line, and as a result, by the time he got it, dropped it. You think Tony would have that beat? I don't think he would have if he'd made the right play on it. That was a boot. And it puts runners on first and second. 1 out. 4 runs already home in the 7th inning. Luke still at bat. Hits the first pitch for a high, easy fly to center field. Moses circles in under it, makes the catch, and then throws hard to third base, chasing Hayes back to second. So it's 2 out in the 7th inning. White Sox runners on first and second. 2 out, 4 runs home, and Sugar Cain, the pitcher, is coming to bat. Pitcher throws now, and Cain starts started to swing but changed his mind and took a curveball wide and low for ball one. Throws again and Jug swings, hit a slow bounder back to Johnson, who fields it, throws to first, and Cain is out by a step for the third out, ending the seventh inning. Not until the White Sox not only had tied the score, but gone into a two-run lead. In the last half of the seventh inning, were 4 runs, 5 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. The error did not figure in the scoring. And the score is 7-5 in favor of the White Sox at the end of the seventh inning. Don't buy just any old gasoline for your car. Be as smart as the United States government. It buys gasoline on specification. You too can buy the same way. Fill up with Texaco Fire Chief, and you're getting a gasoline which meets the United States government specifications for emergency motor fuel. And it costs no more than ordinary gasoline. Ready to go in the eighth inning. First man at bat for the Athletics is Higgins, the third baseman. He starts his windup. Throws and Piggy swings it a long drive out deep left field. Ratcliffe chasing over there, but it's foul, I believe. Foul. It hit the railing of the upper deck of the grandstand. Foul by only a few inches, and Higgins has to come back. Oh, that ball was really hit, and the wind was more or less against it rather than blowing it out. Still, it went up into the second deck, hit the railing right in the front of it, and carried him downstairs. But was fouled by a foot or two, and it's one strike, but a very long strike on Mr. Higgins. Cain throws again for strike two. Fastball over the inside corner, about knee-high, so it's 2 strikes on Higgins. And the White Sox are going to keep a couple pitchers warmed up there in case of emergency. Cain winds up again, throws, the hitter follows the ball into the stand to the right of the plate. It's still 2 strikes on Higgins. Certainly somebody caught that ball down there and gets quite a hand from the fans. Hitter swings again, hit a high fly. Hayes is coming over back of it, waving Appling away, but suddenly Appling calls for it and follows it on into the infield in front of second base and makes the catch for the first out of the 8th inning. One out in the 8th inning for the Athletics, and Frank Hayes, the catcher, is at bat. Cain starts to wind up, throws, and the hitter takes the ball. It's over the plate, but it's too low. 1 ball called. Cain throws again, and the hitter swings a high fly going foul into the stands back at first base. That makes it 1-1. Pitcher throws again, and the hitter swings it, a bounder down to Wyatt, who fights it a little bit, fumbles it momentarily, then throws to first, and a beautiful play by Benura. Got the man. Zeke leaped out, caught the ball one-handed, and then kicked back to get the bag just before the runner got there, and it's 2 out in the 8th inning. Very nice play by Big Zeke. So it makes it 2 out in the 8th inning for the Athletics, and Newsom, Whitey Newsom, the shortstop, is at bat. Cain throws the first one, and Whitey takes a curveball wide and low for ball 1. Now the pitcher on the slab is ready once more. He's winding up. Pitch is, and the hitter started to swing but changed his mind and took a ball wide. And so it's 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes on Newsom. again, winds up, throws, and it's a strike, a fastball over the heart of the plate, making it 2-1. One of those wandering clouds suddenly blew across below the sun, and it got the field completely in shadow, but all around us the sun is shining. Hitter hits the next one, a grass cutter out past the pitcher. Hayes gets it, throws it first, and it's 3 out in the 8th inning, although Hayes' throw is a little wide, but it'll reach way out to get them. 3 out in the 8th inning for the Athletics. And the score is still 7-5 in favor of the White Sox. White Sox coming to bat in the last half of the 8th with Rip Radcliffe, the leadoff man, again, the first man up. Let's see if we have a change out here. Number 20, Gumpert, Gumpert, is the new pitcher for the Athletics. And he's a great, big, rangy fellow, right-hander. Here's a very easy pitching motion. Bring that ball pretty much overhand or a little bit high sidearm. He finishes his warm-up. Somebody else is keeping warming up down the right field bullpen for the A's. And Rip Radcliffe is up there at the plate to start the last half of the 8th inning. First pitch to Ripper is wide and low for ball 1. One ball call, pitcher throws again, and it's a strike over the inside corner waist high, so the count is 1 ball and 1 strike on Radcliffe. 1-1 the count. Throws again, a Rip swings in, a foul onto the roof of the stand above and to left the plate, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Uncle George just almost got his neck broken up here. My goodness, that's a terrible thing to say. You know, the wind blowing, why, he's got a handkerchief tied over this microphone to try to break the roar of the wind, and he says, we ought to have a fine broadcast today. We're straining it. Yeah, I had to restrain myself when you said that. The next pitch to Ripper is wide for ball 2, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Radcliffe. And he swings this time to miss a high fastball and strike out for the first out of the 8th inning. 1 out of the 8th inning for the Sox. And Haas is at bat. Ewell Haas has 2 hits and a walk since coming into the ball game. Starts to wind up, throws, and Mule takes a high one wide for ball 1. 1 ball called. Ready once more, starts to wind up again, throws, and the hitter swings to get his 3rd hit, a drive out into left field for a base hit. Ball is fielded fast by Finney, who throws it into second base, and it's a single to left field by Haas for his 3rd hit of the ball game. So it puts Haas on first base, 1 out of the 8th inning, and Mike Krivich is at bat. First one is a bounder to the shortstop, who makes a nice play on it, throws to second, and the throw to first completes a double play. The shortstop made a very fast play on that drive of Krivich. Flipped it to Johnson, and Johnson made a nice pivot and throw to first to complete a twin killer. So it's 3 out, no runs, 1 hit in the 8th inning for the White Sox. And at the end of the 8th inning, Sox are leading the Athletics by a score of 7-5. Stopped in to get your new 1936 technical scorebook, or at least got the request card to get it. You know, these books are going to be very precious possessions later on. It's going to mean that you can relive the games that you hear, thrill about, those that you see, all the rest of your life. Because in this scorebook, not only is space for 30 full games, 17 full games. I'm looking at number 30 on the back of the coach down there, Earl Mack. It'll Nemec is batting in place of comfort. It'll give you this complete scoring system, and there's room for 17 games. Pictures of the Sox and Cubs. It's so simple to get. You just stop in at any Texaco station, ask for a request card, fill it out, put a stamp on it, and mail it. It's already addressed to me, and you'll get your score. Helix batting for comfort takes the first pitch high and inside for ball one. And there's the next one for a strike over the outside corner, so it's 1-1. She winds up once more, throws, and there's ball two. It's inside and low. Swings the next in, a high fly coming down, foul back to the plate. Sewell is jogging back with umpire McGowan running right with him. Luke grabs it, hangs onto it, and it's one out of the ninth inning. Luke's caught himself a lot of foul balls down there today at that, hasn't he? Well, that makes it one out of the ninth inning for the Athletics. And the next man up there is Lou Finney, the leadoff man at left field. Throws the first one, he swings it, a bounder down to Jackie Hayes. Jackie soaks it up, throws the first, and the runner is out for the second out of the ninth inning. Two out of the ninth inning for the Athletics. And Moses, the A's center fielder, is at bat. Moses, another left-handed hitter, waits there as Cain starts to wind up, throws. And it's a wide one across the knees for ball one. One ball called. Sugar has the sign again, starts to wind up. Pitches, and the hitter tried to get away from that one, but it came into him and hit the handle of the bat and bounded foul back to the stand. So it's 1-1. One ball and one strike on Moses. Waiting there again for the sign. Suddenly the umpire calls time, walks up, talks to Sewell about something or other. Oh, he changed that last one to a ball? How could he? It hit the bat. Well, he did, so it's 2-0. There must be some reason. It might have hit Sewell's glove or something first and tear him down against the bat. Anyway, the next one does come over the plate for a strike, and it's 2-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. And there's ball 3 wide and low. And it's 3-1. 3 balls and 1 strike on Moses. Cain is winding up again. He throws and the hitter takes a strike over the inside corner about knee high. It runs the count to 3-2. Now we'll see what happens. Balls and 2 strikes on Moses. Throws it by Wally, swings the foul one way down the left field line, back underneath the second deck, far down beyond third base, and it's 3-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Winding up again, throws, and the hitter takes ball 4 high and wide and gets a base on balls. Well, that puts Moses on first base, 2 out in the ninth inning, and brings Chubb Dean, a very troublesome young man at bat, up there to the plate. He really looks like a lot of hitters. Dean stands there looking at the bench. Oh, the umpire discovered the catcher's paraphernalia lying out there on the ground in front of the dugout. It's supposed to be in it, so they wait until it's taken in. And there's the first pitch to Dean for a slow curve that comes over the heart of the plate around the knees for a strike. 1 strike on Dean. Dean throws again and the hitter swings it, a foul down the left field line, clear over the roof of the stand, and it's 2 strikes on Chubb. 2 strikes count. Waiting for that next one. It's ready again. Throws and the hitter takes a high one wide for ball 1, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Dean. Moses
is on first base, 2 out in the ninth inning, and the White Sox leading 7-5. Again, Cain pitches and the hitter swings in a high fly to center field. Krivich is coming in fast. Finally slows up under it, has it, and it's 3 out, and the Sox win the ball game by that score, 7-5. In the ninth inning, no runs, no hits, 1 man left on base. And the final score, the totals, White Sox had 7 runs, 10 hits, 3 errors, and 8 men left on the bases. The A's had 5 runs, 10 hits, 3 errors,
1 hour and 4 minutes.
They had 7 men left on the bases. Time of the game, 1 hour and 53 minutes. 1:53. The winning pitcher, of course, was Cain, and the losing pitcher was Fink. The summaries again. White Sox had 7 runs, 10 hits, 3 errors with 8 men left on base. The Athletics 5 runs, 10 hits, 3 errors, and 7 men left on base. Time of the game, 1 hour and 53 minutes. The winning pitcher, Cain, losing pitcher, Fink. Tomorrow, the White Sox and Athletics play the final game of this series, and then on Friday, the Boston Red Sox come to town, and Friday is Ladies' Day. Ladies admitted without ticket. All they got to do is get that tax ticket that the government requires. It's a doubleheader Sunday between the White Sox and Red Sox here at Comiskey Park, and we'll be seeing you a lot the rest of the week, won't we? That's all for now. For Hal Totten speaks for George as well as himself. It's a good afternoon from Comiskey Park, and we return to the studio. Goodbye now.
Now stands 2 wins for the White Sox and 1 for the Athletics. I don't know who will pitch for the White Sox. Teddy Lyons may be nominated to go into action against the Athletics. And Connie Mack's pitching selection is also a mystery because Connie rotates his hitters as he sees fit. The time of the game, 1 hour and 54 minutes. 7-5, Chicago coming from behind with a 4-run rally in the last half of the 7th inning to sew up the ball game. That's all for today, ladies and gentlemen, for Phillips 66. Don't forget to tune in this evening at 8 o'clock for the March of Sports. So now, this is Russ Hodges speaking from the ballpark, and I'll be seeing you.
All right, thank you, Russ. There's no question about it. All gasolines, or nearly all of them, are better than they used to be. They've all been improved, stepped up, made pure, and freed from NOx. But only Phillips offers you at all its stations the benefits of the new scientific polymerization process. Every gallon of Phillips 66 polygas is enriched with the resulting extra energy units. You notice the difference the first time you try a tank full. Your motor runs sweeter, quieter, smoother, and cooler, with extra power and extra mileage. And the big news is that you don't have to buy a single penny extra for this wonderful new hot weather gasoline. For just the price of ordinary motor fuel, buy Phillips 66 polygas. Phillips 66 has brought you the baseball game by permission of the Chicago White Sox and the Philadelphia Athletics to stimulate interest in our national game and in your local team no matter where you may be. Don't forget, the Phillips Petroleum Company will present Russ Hodges again tomorrow in the broadcast of another baseball game from Comiskey Park. Be sure to listen in tonight at 7 o'clock for the reenactment of today's Cubs game, dramatized. WIND in Gary, the tip-top spot on your dial. The game between the Boston Red Sox and St. Louis Browns has just concluded the 3rd inning. The score, Boston 1, St. Louis 5. Boston using Ostermuller as the pitcher and Bird the catcher. St. Louis, Hogsett the pitcher and Giuliani the catcher. Going into the last half of the 7th inning at Detroit, the New York Yankees 13, Detroit Tigers 1. The batteries in the game for New York, roughing the pitcher, Dickey the catcher. For Detroit, Sullivan, Hawker, and Kinsey all doing the pitching, and Myatt the catcher. While we wait for the rest of the scores, let me tell you, ladies, of the wonderful opportunity that's awaiting you at Newark. You can actually get the smart new dresses you need. Fresh, clean socks that will carry you through the rest of the summer in beauty and comfort at a low sale price right now when you need them most. Values to $8.95. Satins, sheers, nets, crepes, every fabric that's popular in white, pastel shades, print, and even some new blacks. And they're just $2.95 on terms of 25 cents down and 25 cents a week without interest or carrying charge. Go to New Arts and see these extraordinary values for yourself. There's a complete selection in your size, and New Arts courteous clerks are truly eager to help you. For 25 cents down, and no red tape or fuss at all to take your choice right home with you. It's New Arts, 232 South State Street and 6319 South Halsted Street. Now here come the scores in the National League. At Boston, the end of the first game of a doubleheader, the Pittsburgh Pirates, 1 run, 9 hits, and 2 errors. Boston, 4 runs, 10 hits, and 3 errors. Boston 4, Pittsburgh 1. The batteries for Pittsburgh, Swift, Welch, the pitcher, and Padden, the catcher. For Boston, McFadden, the pitcher, and Lopez, the catcher. A final score of the second game that has just come in. Pittsburgh, 10 runs, 16 hits, and 1 error. Boston, 4 runs, 9 hits, and 2 errors. Pittsburgh 10, Boston 4. The batteries in the game. For Pittsburgh, Weaver and Brown, the pitchers. Padden and Finney, the catchers. For Boston, Smith and Rice, the pitchers, and Mueller, the catcher. The final score of the first game of the doubleheader between the St. Louis Cardinals and Brooklyn Dodgers. St. Louis, 7, and the Brooklyn Dodgers, 22. The total, St. Louis, 7 runs, 7 hits, and 3 errors. The Brooklyn Dodgers, 22 runs, 21 hits, and 1 error. The batteries in the game for St. Louis, Parma Lee and Davis. For Brooklyn, Van Lingle Mungo, the pitcher, and Barrett, the catcher. At the end of the fourth inning of the second game, the St. Louis Cardinals 5, Brooklyn Dodgers nothing. The batteries working that game for St. Louis, Big George Earnshaw, the pitcher, and Ogrodowski, the catcher. For Brooklyn, Park and Butcher, the pitchers, and Phelps doing the backstopping. The doubleheader between the Cincinnati Reds and the Philadelphia Phillies was called because of wet grounds, being able to play neither of the two games scheduled. The final score between the Chicago Cubs and the New York Giants, played at New York, Chicago 2, New York Giants 7. The totals, Chicago 2 runs, 8 hits, and 2 errors. The New York Giants 7 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. The batteries for Chicago, Big Bill Lee started, Bryant relieved, and Ruth relieved Bryant. 3 pitchers, Lee, Bryant, and Ruth, and Gabby Hartnett behind the plate. For New York, Gabler, the pitcher, and Cussman Cuso, the catcher. Fellows, you don't know what real comfort is until you've worn one of the smart new summer suits that New Arts are featuring. Nationally advertised, genuine loom cool and beach weave masterpieces in single and double-breasted models. Porous, lightweight suits that let the air circulate close to your body are priced just $12.50. And all you need is 50 cents down to take your suit home with you. 50 cents a week will take care of the balance, and at New Arts, there's never any interest or carrying charge. And while you're there, don't fail to see the smart accessories on display. Shirts and ties, polo shirts, white vinyl trousers, white shoes, all at the Loop store. Get everything you need at New Arts on easy credit. Go to New Arts, N-E-W-A-R-T, New Arts, 232 South State Street and 6319 South Halsted Street. Open Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evening. Listen tomorrow right after the game for scores of other games presented by New Arts, Chicago's favorite family credit clothier. WIND.